Welcome back to the Sports Source. This segment brought to you by Games and Things. Skee ball, shuffleboard, air hockey, darts, table tennis, foosball, pool tables, even classic arcade games and jukeboxes. If you want to add some fun to your home, head to Games and Things, folks. Check out their showroom. It's at the corner of Lovell Road and Kingston Pike. You're going to find so much stuff in there. You're going to want to buy it all. But you're just going to have to focus on, 5, 6 major items. Games and Things, ourgameroom.com, they'll like that. Just, pool table. Yeah, we'll have to do the pool table. And let's do the ping pong table. Let's do that. And the jukebox. Just be smart about it. 2, 3 things. That'll be great. Games and Things, ourgameroom.com. All right. It looked like Tennessee would be the only staff in the SEC not to have any turnover. Not the case. Early last week, Cody Burns left Tennessee as wide receivers coach to go be the receivers coach for the New Orleans Saints. So you do have some turnover. In terms of replacements, and I haven't seen anything this morning, but the talk has been, it's been all over the board. It's everything from Kelsey Pope possibly being promoted from a quality control kind of guy up into the actual staff, the return of Trooper Taylor, who's now at Duke, the return of David Johnson, who's now at Florida State. A lot of names been kicked around. But then a few days later, just a couple days ago, Glenn Ellerby's name was tied to the Georgia offensive line spot that Matt Luke vacated when he decided to take time away from football. Interesting thing there, another name on that list is Will Friend, who, of course, was Jeremy Pruitt's offensive line coach here.
The much-traveled Will Friend.
I'm guessing Tennessee fans are saying, take Friend, leave us Ellerby. But here's the thing. That's just, I've not seen anything other than Ellerby's name on lists at this point. So don't know that means there's really a open line of communication or how hot that thing's gotten. But for the sake of debate, let's say Ellerby goes and you do have receivers coach and offensive line coach open. What's the bigger loss there? What's the bigger concern?
Well, there's no question.
There's no question?
There's no question. It's offensive line. That's a Carrollton, Georgia native that you got to look at. I followed the Ellerby career because he went.
And you can't lose a Carrollton, Georgia man.
Yeah.
Well,
everybody knows.
That's why it would be more of a way to go back to Georgia. I mean, he in a way, and he's moved around some. I mean, he was a 4-year starter at MTSU. He was a good player. He was all conference, and he went to Missouri when Heupel was the offensive coordinator. He's the biggest loss.
Why? That's not because he's Carrollton,
Georgia.
Georgia.
The way he coaches and he played the position, and he's also can get you some recruits from Georgia.
Okay.
I'll go a little bit different. I'm going to agree with Chuck. I don't even know where Carrollton, Georgia
What
is.
county?
So, yes. But I
There may
just
be a hometown lure.
And this is not to detract at all from what Cody Burns did, because I thought he really improved
Look at Cedric Tillman.
Tennessee's receivers. But I just think with offensive line, the continuity, especially when your offensive line showed improvement last year, the continuity is more important at that position. I think more guys can come in and take a talented group of receivers, and you work on route running and blocking and so many different things. But the continuity at the offensive line, I think, is more important.
Sterling is now standing up, jumping up and down on his couch because you said continuity 3 times, which is the Sterling Hinton word. So he's in love with that. Guys, bigger loss if both go.
Yeah, just to keep continuity here in the segment, I would say I would say the offensive line as well. But Ellerby and Heupel, the time that they've spent together at Missouri, UCF, and Tennessee, there has to be a trust factor there. The offensive line position importance as well. I also trust that within the Josh Heupel offense, receivers are going to be getting open.
Right.
So it's still an important position because you have to replace key players. The development of younger guys is going to be a big deal. But I look at the importance of the offensive line.
I think it's a great question, and it's very close to me. It's not as
he liked the question, Chuck.
and here's the thing. I think Cody Burns was probably, if I'm going to rank the coaches this past year, I would rank him higher in terms of the quality job that he did. I think the offensive line with Glenn Ellerby was helped a little bit by that offense, that pace. And so you overcome your offensive line and maybe not being the best because of the system. Now, on the flip side of it is, if you lose Ellerby, you lose him to a rival in Georgia. So that, I think, would add some value there. But that position is so important. I would probably still give that the edge, but I still value as an individual coach in a bubble Cody Burns.
And Burns was really with the 4-star wide receiver from Arizona, correct, Josh? He was really had a good relationship with him, and that hurts there. I think with the wide receiver position, you got to get a recruiter there. You got to get somebody that can go out and find you some talent.
Well, and you had an SEC former player coach there too.
I kind of go back to Will Friend when he was here with Pruitt because I thought that was such a mess.
Although everybody loved it when he was hired because he had this great reputation.
Fantastic.
He's been everywhere.
But it
reason.
seemed to me that he never did a very good job while he was here, and I would just hate to see that kind of start going again. But I agree with you, Vince. I think Cody Burns did a fantastic job, but offensive line is going to win.
Well, the problem is that was a trick question. You're all wrong. No, I view it as this. I think it's too early. I don't know. We saw them for 1 year, and we don't know yet how much that system props up the offensive line or props up the receivers. I don't know yet. So I would argue that if you're looking at a position, offensive line, because it's 5 guys, and if they suck, you can't do anything. Offensive line is more important than receivers on that for me. But I don't know which of those guys had the bigger impact last year because I haven't seen enough of Heupel's system at Tennessee to really gauge. Oh, well, he shuffles through these guys and it's no problem. Maybe it's receivers. Maybe he can shuffle through quarterbacks, coach. It doesn't matter because he's the guy. But I haven't seen it enough yet to know. So you're all wrong.
I think the fact that Ellerby's been with him so long probably plays a little bit of a role into this, too.
I just ended the segment. And now you jump back in and try and debate. The curtain's been drawn. The gavel has been hammered.
It's called trying to undercut you.
Yeah.
Undercut you at the very end.
Yeah.
And I thought the key point was Carrollton, Georgia.
Yeah, exactly. The key is Carrollton, Georgia. It's Carrollton, Georgia,
For
man.
him going to Georgia.
You
Watch
don't
out,
lose
watch
Carrollton,
out.
Georgia, man.
Yeah.
All right. It's looking like there will not be a spring game this year. It hasn't been announced, but it's unlikely. But should there be an element of spring practice that goes away? We'll discuss that next. Red jerseys, no contact jerseys. Come on back on the Sports Source.